Hey guys, good morning. Happy Sunday. It's Daryl here. It's not so bright and early, 6 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. I was just walking out the door to go on a 4 mile walk, my usual 4 mile walk around the town this morning, and I caught a news clip about the anniversary of 9/11, 21 years ago today. And I thought I'd say a little something about that. I can't believe that much time has gone by. The 21 years had passed, and I started thinking about this is one of those cases. I remember when I was young, I heard people talking about where they were when President Kennedy was assassinated. Everybody remembered where they were, or when the shuttle taking off with teacher Christian McAuliffe when it disintegrated on takeoff up and as it was going off on takeoff, and people talking about how they'll never forget where they were, and I always wondered about that. And this case that day, September 11th, is one of those days that I remember crystal clear. I thought I'd talk about that a little bit. I started to realize too that anybody that's like under the age of 28, 29, maybe even 30, might not have I don't know how clear their memory is of it being 6, 7, 8 years old. But let me tell you what I remember about that day. I mean, if any of you guys want to say something in the comments too. I remember I was on. It was a beautiful, beautiful, crisp, clear, perfect 10 day here in New England. It was about in the low 70s, pure blue sky, beautiful day. It's prime surfing weather here in the Northeast, especially in Rhode Island. The water is the warmest it ever gets. We have hurricanes that are constantly coming up the coast to give us good waves. It's the best time of year to surf, especially in the Rhode Island area. And I was on my way. I was just approaching Hartford. I hadn't gone too far. I had gone about 10 miles into my trip early in the morning, about 9 a.m. Just before 9 a.m. And I was on the highway on 84 East when I heard on the radio what happened. At first they talked about a plane, and they didn't talk about nobody could imagine the magnitude. At first, they thought it was like a Cessna or something. Nobody dared imagine that it was a full-size 777 or 747 airliner. That was unthinkable. And there was speculation, and then the pictures started coming out, and they came constantly, day and night, on all the channels. It's kind of interesting that you do not see any of those pictures from that day. Some of the pictures were just unbelievable. Just something you can't unsee. The people that were on the highest floors and their desperation. That's all I'll say about that. Anyway, I was on the highway, and the story started getting worse. It was just one thing after another. First, the first plane, and then the size of the first plane, then the second plane. Then the first tower collapses. Then the second tower collapses. At that point, I remember I started crying. I teared up. In my head, I remember the number just off the top of my head at like 10,000 people. I imagined it had to be at least that many people. Thankfully, it wasn't. I ended up turning my car around very quickly and going back home, because they already in this area, ground zero, the World Trade Center, is probably about 90 miles from 87 miles, I think, from right where I'm sitting right here. And some of the people I went to school with that day, some of the people I graduated passed away. They were working there in the financial area. They were talking about shutting down the highways. And, nobody knew how long this was going to go on for. And then Pennsylvania came, and the Pentagon, and all that. And there was talk of shutting down the highways here. So I turned the car around and headed home. And then they talked about, there was no planes. If you were young, you might not remember, there was no planes flying I think it was for 3 days. None. I have one of those apps that shows all the planes I love this app. I love flying, and I love wondering where people are going. And so I have one of those apps that show every flight in the air right now, real time, around the world. I forgot, in flight, I think it's called. And there was none except for military planes. I remember F-17s or F-22s or whatever they were zooming over, flying over here, probably on the from Massachusetts bases up north, heading down towards New York. It was a scary, sad, surreal day and time after that. I remember walking down the sidewalk, going into convenience stores, getting gas, going into the supermarkets, and every single man, woman, teenager, every single I passed, you'd make eye contact. And I don't even know how to describe it. It was just this, it was like a grim, just an acknowledgement of the pain. I don't even know how, I don't even know how, and even, it was with every person you went by that day and the following days. It was just like a nod. I can't believe this is happening, kind of thing. Another interesting thing is it brought us a lot closer together. People seemed to be a lot more respectful of each other. Life seemed more precious. Our country, our citizenship, for a while after that, it was kind of nice. I hate to say something. I don't want to say something good came out of it. That's not what I'm saying. But when you suffer something like that, it pulls survivors together, I believe, in most instances. And there seemed to be a lot more respect, like on the roads and in the stores, between people that usually have no patience or quick tempers. That seemed to be on pause for a while. It was a shocking time. They just kept showing the pictures over and over. And one thing that went through my mind too, I don't know if I was the only person, I'm sure I wasn't, that thought of this, but I thought about the brief milliseconds right before that pilot hit the tower. When that plane was just coming within 20, 10, 5 feet, seeing that tower come up, I was wondering, was he smiling? How did he feel at that moment? Did he really believe? Was he praising his God? Did he all of a sudden realize what he was doing, the magnitude? Did he make eye contact? Was there somebody at a desk, somebody actually on the other side of that window, making direct eye contact with that terrorist driving the plane, flying the plane? In that brief millisecond. Can you imagine if you could just freeze that second? What was going through his mind? Was there people standing right on the other side, watching their imminent demise, milliseconds away? Did he have euphoria? Did the pilot have euphoria? Did he climax? What did it mean to him? Sorry about the camera. Part of me almost hopes that he realized what he was doing at that last minute, and the innocent people, the magnitude of the death and destruction and pain that he was bringing on the world. Some part of me hopes that he at least he realized that before he passed. I'm sorry about the camera. All right, you guys have a good Sunday.